It's DJ Hicks here, Cool FM. Delighted to be joined by The Script.
Oi, oi! How are you?
And we're in a really special place. This is my first time here.
Is it? Yeah. Brilliant, isn't it?
And we've been saying all day we need to come back and do the proper.
Did you have a point yet?
Not here.
No, it's great.
Actually,
no, I can smell your breath. So I can smell your breath. You have.
Not today. Not
today. Not here.
But it's a pleasure to be speaking to you. And obviously, we're here all about Arthur Guinness projects and stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. Danny, I got to say first, Cool FM, Northern Ireland. You know where I'm going to go with it.
Go on, Tyrone.
Andrea Begley, your time.
High five, baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was a hard-won victory, I have to say.
For you?
Amazing, really great. For me, it gave me a lot of courage to kind of go, you know what, a great song can smash down walls. You know, we weren't the favourite to win, but on the night, it literally just goes to show whoever can, you know, has the balls and has the metal to kind of keep it together. Well, a girl's made of metal. She's brilliant. Yeah. But you know, again, we weren't the favourite. We were the underdog, and I think it just goes to show the UK and Ireland love underdogs.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, like, what's your future involvement going to be with Andrea?
It's definitely early days right now. There's a massive contract with Universal and 21st Century Management, who have the option to pick up on the last 10 acts to get through to the finals. So she's probably in a whirlwind now, talking to execs and heads of labels and stuff, trying to really confidently get a great album out between now and Christmas. You know, I think to really capitalise on what we've done on The Voice, she'll have to have something out soon. Her type of voice as well, if you want to, she writes her own stuff. She writes originals and writes, plays guitar as well. So I'm trying to push for there to be originals on there. It's looking like it's going to be leaning heavier towards covers than it would, just to bridge the gap, you know, between, buy herself some time as well. But my involvement would be as much as she wants. You know, I'm always there at the end of a phone, as I am for all my acts, you know. Yeah,
and I'm really intrigued to ask, because I think everybody is an armchair judge when it comes to these kind of shows. Everyone has their opinions. So to maybe move from I guess probably you were as much as anyone else watching these shows, a bit of an armchair judge.
Of course.
To being an actual mentor.
It is crazy. It's really crazy. I think it's one thing saying like, oh, I would have said this, I would have said that. I'm like, you know what, when you're up there in the lights and you're sitting beside Tom Jones and Holly Willoughby's asking you, so what did you think of that? Everything goes out the window and you just go off your gut reaction. I think just trying to be honest and trying to be me. You know, I think anybody watching the show knows that I wasn't trying to be anybody else or be the next Simon Cowell or anything like that, because I just can't give bad news in a bad way. I try and give bad news in a good way.
Wasn't the format of the show wasn't to pull people down. It was to actually, the word mentor was what they really tried to get into.
Coach,
and just try. At that point, you're not there to judge people. You're there to go, okay, that wasn't the best, but here's what we think you could do, you know, and try to give them constructive criticism rather than
destructive criticism.
Yeah, I mean, you can just watch those other shows, you just see people getting torn apart, and the chance of them possibly coming into this industry again, the distaste they're going to have for it is just going to be terrible, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's interesting because this whole thing where we're here today, which we'll talk about in a second, you know, new bands, new talents, whatever. I kind of still view you guys as a fairly fresh band.
I still view us as a fresh band.
Babies.
Which is crazy that, you know, we can across the board now impart our knowledge, and I think that was really important for us, you know, even with The Voice, was to have somebody who's in the game now giving real-time advice. I mean, we're not sitting there going, 10 years ago I was famous, or this, that, and the year. You know, we're doing it right now. We did 2 festivals last weekend in between doing the live show for The Voice. So if you want any more realistic, you know, what it's like to be in the industry, there's nothing better than us, because we're still, in my opinion, we're still on the way up. We still haven't reached our full potential, I don't think.
There's still more for us to do. Everybody presumes, well, you guys have made it. I don't think we have, you know, and I think we're doing well, we're successful, but there's more that we want
to do. But I do think we've got a great opinion on things. Of course I'm going to say that. But, you know, the Arthur Guinness project, you know, the Arthur Guinness Fund is now funding a project where people can go online, go into the Arthur Guinness Projects.com and upload ideas, you know, across 4 different genres. You have music, arts, food and sport. And for people like us, I guess, you know, years ago we didn't have anything like this, that you could put an idea to somebody. You know, I went to the bank and said, listen, I want to get, you know, music equipment. They're like, and who do you work for? Well, I work for myself. And what's your income? I don't have any. Get out. They just tell you to get out. So this is a great way for you to be able to allocate money. It's 3 million over the next 3 years to entrepreneurs in all those fields, from sports, if you're creating a new leisure centre, or if you're creating a new network of places where people can go and work out, and across the board to music, not just songs or bands, but people who are developing applications, apps for their phone.
They may have new delivery ideas of how music should be delivered to people.
Yeah.
There's so many areas. Glenn even spoke earlier on from. I mean, you think of a drummer. A drummer's not exactly the quietest person in the world.
Or the smartest person in the world.
When you think of how loud even Glenn would be, to have facilities for bands to rehearse, we're a noisy machine.
So some communities, they don't have that, I remember one of the guys that used to be in our area, he was always he was a real moocher of trying to get somewhere for a rehearsal space, and we didn't have any money. You're starting out, you've no money, you barely own your own instruments, do you know what I mean? Even something like that for an area, there could be someone that will come forward and say, look, I want to set this up. There's lots of people in the community that do music, they've nowhere to jam or rehearse. This is a place available. This is much it will cost a year to do this. Bang, there's a place for them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. You would have loved something like this when you're
we would have killed for
Absolutely.
this. I would have killed for this. I would have been.
I remember being in school. I went to school just down the road in St James Street. I was also brewed around here as well, I was saying. But I remember going to school. We had no music class in our school, nothing, which is just, I honestly annoys me so much. It frustrates me to a point of madness.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the class, and the teacher would say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And it was always plumber, electrician. It was always a trade job, and it used to want to bang my head against the wall. And if I said musician, I was a lunatic.
Yeah.
If someone said rocket scientist, if someone said an astronaut,
physicist,
they would laugh at. Fireman was about as blasé as you could get. Your dreams. But I realised as I was growing up that what was wrong with that was the only options that were in front of these people, so that they could actually choose. Hopefully, with this, we'll place new options, new ideas in front of people to know that it is actually possible to dream bigger.
Yeah.
Irish people and we are Irish, and I just think sometimes we have this almost ability that is stuck in our system that we don't feel like we deserve stuff. I think we underplay ourselves a bit much. We, instead of laughing at them, let's try facilitate that and do something about it. I was hanging out with, of all people today, Brendan O'Carroll, and I was actually just talking to him about his kids in the States and all that stuff, and he was just saying how wonderful it is in America, where no matter what field you want to put your kids into, no matter what it is, I don't care, you can pick it. There's a facility from the ground level for them, and a professional facility. Mm-hmm. What do you want to be, an athlete, a musician? There's facilities from the ground up from 4 and 5 years old, and that's why when we look at them, we go, there's so many musical artists, there's so many people going to space, there's so many people. That's why, because they're nurturing it from day dot. Yeah. And we don't have that, unfortunately. We don't nurture those kids till they're 14, 15, 16 years old. We're missing 15 years, 16 years of nurturing and developing kids in this country who are bloody geniuses in this country. They're just not allowed to be, Yeah. And I think this hopefully will break the ice a little bit.
So this was a very easy yes for you?
I think so.
The easiest yes you can ever get.
You can really tell your passion.
Yeah, well, I think it's important. If we're going to apply ourselves to anything, for us, we really don't take it lightly. It's the same with products. We don't endorse that, we don't do that, and unless we use it, it's something that actually falls into our life and complements our music and it makes sense to us.
The fact that this is going to affect people out there in a positive way, and it's such a positive way, and give them a shot at what we're doing now is quite amazing, or in any area. It's a great thing to give them the opportunity that you wouldn't otherwise have if it wasn't there.
Sure. All right, well listen, just before we wrap up, and the key messages, and I'm just going to read it verbatim because I think it almost sums you guys up. The Arthur Guinness Projects Initiative will invest in, promote and celebrate local creators, visionaries and innovators, which I think you guys are.
Thank you.
And facilitating transformation of people's aspirations and ideas into actions and achievements. I think it's such a powerful paragraph, and probably one of the many reasons why you agreed to be a part of this. Let's get the judging head back on.
Yeah.
And for the people listening who are thinking of applying for this, I know it's kind of vague and it's very open, but I would love to know just maybe a few little tips, the kind of things that you're looking for. I mean, we can put the void mark. You can be I am.
Mm-hmm. You can be Jessie J.
I was going to say you could be Jessie J. Tom Jones, and you can be Jessie. I mean, what tips would you give to people that are thinking of applying?
Are you asking me, Jessie J? I'll just get up and storm out. Boom, boom.
I suppose, the music industry in general, I don't want to turn this into a music song contest. I don't want to turn this, because people are going to think just because the script are involved, let's send them songs, they love songs. What they probably don't know about us as well is that as a band we try out all the new technology we possibly can, whether that's things like click-through to Twitter to MySpace, everything we've tried, and at least see can we further music through that medium. even down to now from downloads to streaming. Young entrepreneurs that are getting into music probably have discovered something that we're not thinking of right now. And for me personally, I'm looking for something that is they find a niche in this musical in this music industry right now. Find a niche idea, and whether that's bridging a gap from streaming to downloads, whether we discover how to price music better, if we discover a great app, it doesn't really matter. It can be a song. Just really matters that is really powerful and strong piece of work. You know.
Yeah.
100%. Nah, I'm Jesse Jang. I don't agree with anyone.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Really
Thanks, lads. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that.
Cheers.